Since the turn of the 20th century, a new youth culture has arisen, in many ways the spiritual successor to the hippie, the modern hipster. Hipsters are prevalent in Western contemporary society, but enigmatic in nature. They are numerous and conspicuous, but perplexingly difficult to identify beyond anything but superficial characteristics. What is a hipster? A visit to the website lookathisfuckinghipster.com displays user-submitted pictures of hipsters, but fails to bring enlightenment.
He's a guy who's trying to be above the, I don't know what the current trend is. He's trying to be the guy who's in the next step already. Physically, wear like bow ties, like plaid vests, corduroy pants, and khakis.
Things like bandanas, fedoras with earrings in them, strange hairstyles.
Fedoras or, well, driving caps, things like that.
It's like they're trying to do Jean-Paul Gaultier without actually being Jean-Paul Gaultier. They have, the clothing, but not the spirit.
I think girls tend to go with like, I don't know, ostentatious kind of jewelry, things that, a lot of people would normally wear.
Glasses are hipster, but I've been wearing glasses all my life, so, it's different, it's specific types of frames that are hipster, apparently. But some people can wear them and not be hipster, and other people can't.
Webster's dictionary seems to support this definition, defining a hipster as, quote, a person who is unusually aware of and interested in new and unconventional patterns.
I think they're out to, like, prove that they're cool in a different way than the average, jock or, I don't know, alpha male. And to play indie video games, they listen to, K-pop music, and they tend to say, oh, I watched that before, it was cool a lot.
Particularly with countercultures, if you feel like you're different from the vast majority of people, then finding those people that you feel similar to, you're going to try and find them a little bit more strong.
And them finding the next cool thing before it's cool, in a way, makes them unique. So I think they're maybe a little attention-oriented.
As a group, they are the target of an unprecedented amount of scorn, hate, and shame. The existence of a website entitled lookathisfuckinghipster.com exemplifies this. Why?
Dislike their disingenuous personality. I think they're trying to be something they're not. They're trying too hard.
Very smug about, having found something before everyone else.
They try to march to their own beat, get their own fashion, listen to their own music, read their own books, and the second that becomes part of the mainstream culture, it becomes beneath them.
Is it justifiable or hypocritical for an individual to label a hipster even if they may embody some of these characteristics themselves?
I think it depends in your intent, if you're doing it maliciously versus saying, oh, that's kind of a hipster thing to do, or versus, oh, you're really hipster and that's lame.
It's a very broad term. It's easy to throw at someone when you don't have something more specific for why you're annoyed with them.
Each individual is going to label a person a hipster in a different way. They're going to find different qualities to be of that of a hipster.
There's always justification. You gotta have a word for something.
I mean, nature pulled us a vacuum. If they weren't there, someone else would be there, and we call them hipsters, except we wouldn't really call them hipsters, we call them something else. I mean, there's always been a group talking about how cool they were. There's probably a group talking about how cool they were when King George was in power.
Because the terminology is so encompassing, for any individual to fit into some semblance of the hipster mold.
I'm definitely an audiophile. I think that's common of a lot of hipsters. Very much about sound quality in my music.
I'll occasionally pull out things that, I've got into before other people got into them, which is, as far as I'm aware, is the defining hipster quality.
It's hard for me to identify those traits myself versus an outside source.
You think they have a place in society?
Oh, absolutely. I think they're, in a way, trendsetters, because they're the ones who go out and find the next thing that's cool before it's cool.
Whether or not they're actually trendsetters or whether they just happen to find something before it became a phenomenon, I can't say.
They try something new, that something new catches on, it enters into mainstream culture, which I don't think is what they're trying to do, but it can be what happens.
The qualities and characteristics of a hipster are so subjective and opinionated that the case could be made that everyone is, to some extent, a hipster. Anyone with ties to popular culture, past or present, positive or negative, could be considered part of this subculture.